Previously on Bad End Theater, my lovingly crafted labyrinth of suffering. And now, the long-awaited conclusion. Let's get started. Introduce myself. They're a coward now, so they won't eat me. Oh! The demon doesn't really seem to have been listening to you, which is a little irritating. They agree to take you to their master nonetheless. After a long walk to the castle, you are introduced to the Overlord. You explain why you've come, and she squints at you. It turns out she never had any plans to capture maidens, or to do anything else that would agitate the humans. You wonder for a moment that she might be lying, but it doesn't really seem like it. Still, this doesn't make any sense to you. You've always been told demons would one day seek you out, and something awful would happen, and a hero would come to your rescue. You don't want to believe you've been lied to all along. Maybe it's just that you haven't been maiden-like enough. You ask the Overlord what you should do to become a more suitable maiden, but she doesn't seem to understand. Just go home and stop worrying about destiny so much. She makes it sound so simple. This Overlord seems like the complete opposite of you. You want to learn more about her and how she thinks. You insist on staying to talk with her more. The Overlord shares many stories about demons with you, and little by little, you realize they may not be the ruthless monsters you were raised to believe. As it turns out, she commanded her demons to avoid towns and villages. She didn't want to risk giving the humans any excuse to send a hero out after them. You realize that must be why you've never heard of any demons attacking your town. You express your gratitude to the Overlord on behalf of your village. She says you can thank her by telling the humans to stop raising heroes. She's tired of her servants getting killed off by them. You've always thought demons were violent and unreasonable creatures, but it seems like the Overlord could say the same of humans. You may be different, but really, they're just trying to live their lives the same as you. You feel like you're starting to understand things a lot better. But maybe everything I've said was to deceive you and the other humans. What would you do if I turned out to be super evil all along? Even if she were to capture you now, you think this place is a lot more interesting than the way things are back home. You kind of like not being told to expect demons to come after you all the time. You feel free. Honestly, you've always kept this to yourself, but spending time with this Overlord has made you feel very nice. You feel butterflies in your stomach. As you think that, a hero enters the room. You're surprised to see him at first until you realize he must have been sent to retrieve you. Confused, the hero asks you what's going on. You explain the situation, reassuring him that you are never in any danger. The hero expresses his relief that the whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. You apologize for causing trouble, but really, didn't anyone read the note you left? Jeez. The hero asks if you'll return to the village with him to give everyone the news of your safety. Overlord allows the two of you to leave, and you give her a little wave as you exit the room. He'll be back soon. You're about halfway back to the village when you feel something is off. Unable to shake your concern, you look back over your shoulder. You stop in your tracks. The castle is engulfed in flames. Is the Overlord alright? You can't return to the village like this, you'll have to know! You have to be sure everyone is safe. You've already taken off before the hero can even think of stopping you. You scan the fleeing demons, but the Overlord isn't among them. Against your better judgment, you rush into the burning castle to find her. You quickly reach the Overlord's room, but the door is shut tight. The handle is too hot to touch. You're too weak to force it open. You pound your fists against the door, helplessly. What were you thinking? This is all because you'd forgotten your role. Only a hero could pull this kind of thing off. You start to cough. The smoke is too thick. You can hardly breathe. You realize you haven't got much time left now. You desperately head towards the stairs to save yourself. The fire spread faster than you expected. You won't make it outside. You can't help but laugh. What a joke. A maiden saving the Overlord? You just stayed true to your role. Things wouldn't have ended like this. This is exactly the kind of punishment you deserve. You let the demon fire cleanse your rotten soul. No! No! Alright, we're going back. Reset the stage. Oh shit, dude. Near the castle's entrance, you spy a group of suspicious demons congregating. They're talking about assassinating the Overlord. You have to warn her! The hero shakes his head. He says that if this is the true nature of demons, the world is better off with less of them. This isn't right, you think? What kind of hero passes up the chance to save a life? Demons have taken notice of you. It's It's now or never. You take off into the castle, and the unreliable hero follows shortly after. You burst into the Overlord's room, all of your words spilling out at once. You should probably slow down, but there's no time. The Overlord seems to have followed your frantic explanation, but clearly doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. The underling you recognize from before barges in, calling you a liar. You're surprised they were part of this evil plot. They seemed so nice. The other demons come in right after them, saying the whole thing was the first underling's idea. Everyone's shouting at each other now, it's really stressing you out. You're relieved when the Overlord demands silence. She threatens them with violence, and you think that she's very Overlord-like in this moment. It's kind of hot. The group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the little one behind. You watch as it pounds on the door in distress. Oh, and this is gonna be the fire! You think that no matter what, you'll always strive for the path where everyone survives. It must exist. It simply must. The Overlord seizes her underling. They beg for their life. You pray. You don't know what else to do, so you just pray. The Overlord spares the underling. You feel relieved, but does it make any difference? Will you all burn together? Maiden's true can't end like... No, you know what? I'm gonna keep collecting bad ends. Because there's so many left to get. Hero barges in. Oh shit. His clothes are stained by a dark liquid. It's dripping from his weapon, too. You realize it must be demon blood. Something horrible has happened. Confused, the hero asks you what's going on. You explain the situation, reassuring him that you were never in any danger. The Overlord was walking right past the hero and out into the hall. She's wailing. You can only guess what kind of horrible scene he's left for her. The Overlord tears the hero apart in retaliation. You watch silently, unable to scream. The Overlord, you had just been getting along with so well, has killed another human right in front of you. It's clear now that you've been deceived by her sweet words. Demons are ruthless monsters after all. You somehow managed to slip past the Overlord, make it out of the blood-soaked castle. You never look back. Jesus! The Overlord approaches you now. You back yourself into a corner. Her expression is complicated. Being captured by the Overlord in a horrible way like this was your destiny after all. But the Overlord stops. Rather, someone has stopped her. Whatever held back your scream before doesn't stop you this time. The Overlord being ripped to shreds by one of her demon underlings. You think you recognize them, but it's hard to tell with all the blood. Everyone's stopped moving now. The room is silent, save for the underling's heavy breathing. You thank them for what they've done, even though it was awful. You feel you've been rescued from a terrible fate. They look at you, confused for a moment, then puff out their chest. You should probably go home. This place is dangerous. You follow their advice and make your way out of the castle. Decide never to leave home again for the rest of your life. You find the maiden being held captive by the Overlord, just as you suspected. For some reason, you can't sense anything sinister happening. As you all look at each other in surprise and confusion, this is no time to hesitate. Kill! Kill! You lunge forward, driving your blades through the evil Overlord. She screams and then falls silent. The Overlord has been slain. You smile, offering the maiden your hand. She takes it, after slight hesitation. She must be surprised at how strong you are. You escort the maiden home. She's oddly quiet on the trek back to the village. She must be too shy to speak. The villagers are very pleased with what a good job you've done, slaying the Overlord and saving a hostage. They throw a huge celebration in your name. You're remembered for generations as the greatest hero the village has ever seen. But what a coward you truly were. Does the maiden what the fuck's going on? She explains that she came here on her own and was never in any danger. She hesitantly asks why you're covered in blood. You don't know how to respond. The Overlord moves past you and out the door. You see her army in lifeless, bloody piles. She's wailing. It's horrible. It's your chance, hero. It's a misunderstanding! You hope she'll let this whole thing slide if you could just explain yourself. You really try, but the Overlord is inconsolable. He tears you apart, and the maiden watches in silence. As you die, can't help but think you probably deserved this. You fucking slaughtered countless people, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll probably slide, and of course she fucking kills you. You glance around for another exit, but there isn't one. You have a terrible feeling about this. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. What kind of demonic magic is this? Demons capable of mercy? You guess it doesn't matter now. You'll all burn together. And hero's true end. No matter the perspective, the true ending remains the same. That's what makes it true. You couldn't resist seeing it for yourself, though, could you? I wonder what will happen when you collect them all. Will you give in to despair, or reset the stage? I am legally obligated to unlock the maiden. Oh, I can listen to her! Branching path, obey her. You don't want to cause any trouble, so you figure it's time to go home. Along the way, you encounter a hero. He asks you what you're doing. Don't you know the Overlord's castle is like right there? You explain everything that happened. The hero seems to think you're lying to him. He asks if you've been brainwashed by the demons. What nerve! You're very upset that the so-called hero would treat you this way, and leave in a huff. You return to the village alone. Everyone was very worried about you. They surround you with 1,000 questions, and you tell them your story. As you explain that the Overlord never had any intentions to harm anyone here, you notice the looks of uncertainty in the crowd. People are whispering things to each other while you speak to them. You are loudly interrupted by an older man. He rudely calls you a demon sympathizer. The crowd is growing unruly. You don't understand. You've only told them the truth. Do they not believe you? Everyone begins speculating what must have actually happened. They weave elaborate lies and ask you to prove your innocence. How could they have returned without the aid of a hero, they ask. You could not have possibly escaped the Overlord on your own without harm. You must be conspiring with the demons, trying to trick everyone into believing them that they aren't the horrible creatures we know them to be. So they say. Have people of your village always been this blinded by their fears and hatred of things they've never cared to know? You wonder how you missed that before. You're seized by the crowd, and voices from all sides are calling for public execution. You are to be burned at the stake. You don't want to die. You wonder, would it have been better to hide the truth? You don't like the thought of that. You always lived honestly. So why has this happened? Why are you being punished? You hear the dissenting voices of all your family and neighbors. They, like you, are powerless against the momentum. They can only watch as you burn, and you can only cry for them. You are so sorry. Damn, reset the stage! Okay, we gotta unlock all this other shit. Believe her story, I am now trusting. You have no reason to assume she's lying to you. Even though her story is kind of hard to believe, you feel like you should trust her. You tell her you're pretty surprised that everyone has been wrong about demons all along. The townspeople must be informed of this immediately. The two of you return to the village. They had all been so worried. They praise you for your bravery. But the maiden quickly sets the record straight. There was nothing she needed to be rescued from in the first place. The villagers look to you for explanation. You politely inform them this isn't your story to tell. You merely ran into her on your way to the castle. She explains that the Overlord isn't interested in capturing maidens or anything of the sort. The villagers turn to you again in disbelief. They aren't being subtle in how little they trust the maiden's story. You totally believe her, but to placate these fair citizens, you volunteer to speak to the demons personally, just in case. The crowd breaks into hushed whispers. You're too busy thinking what a great and reliable hero you are to hear what they're saying. Town's elder voice breaks you out of your thoughts. He implores you to meet with the Overlord immediately and says they'll all keep an eye on the maiden until you return. You figure that sounds alright, but the mood is kind of intense for some reason. Did you miss something? You aren't sure what's going on, but you get the feeling that it might be bad to leave the maiden on her own. But she suddenly takes off running. Oh, you thought the two of you were in this together. Her actions have convinced the town that she's obviously been a liar and a witch from the start. People are shouting for you to hunt her and her demon friends down already. But that doesn't sound like a very heroic task. You can't help but feel these people are wrong. It's up to you to catch up to her and talk to the demons in order to clear up this misunderstanding. You valiantly dash after the maiden towards the Overlord's castle. The air becomes dark and thick as you enter deep into the demon territory. Evil miasma? No, you realize it's just normal smoke. You see the maiden ahead, but she's stopped in her tracks. The Overlord's castle engulfed in flames. You'd only taken an eye off the maiden for a second, but she's already disappeared. You get closer to the castle, but the smoke is so thick now. You think of turning back. The maiden might need your help. You can barely see. She could be impossible to find. She could have been lying to you all along. Is this a trap? Would it be worth risking your life on that chance? Your legs feel heavy. No, going in there would be suicide. You'll return to the villagers and tell them there was nothing you could do. You were too late. The maiden was claimed by the demons. You and your friends turn to notice the maiden from earlier has overheard your entire conversation. It'd be bad for you if the Overlord found out about this. Toss her in the dungeon! You and your friends seize the maiden and bring her to the dungeon under the castle. It's empty, save for the decorative skulls. They're only there to make it feel more spooky. The maiden is very upset. You leave her in the cell to continue scheming with your friends. Now a hero has arrived at the front gates. He's asking about a maiden, perhaps the very one you just locked up. The gatekeeper, who must have seen everything, tells the hero exactly what happened. What an idiot, you think. Why give the hero an excuse to start slaughtering us? The hero yells, "Prepare to face justice!" and other such cliché hero lines before driving his sword into the gatekeeper's torso. You're small compared to a lot of your friends, so you're able to slip away without getting cut up by that sword. Just thinking, the hero might— oh, and this is locked in the same way. Skip. Lord Underling and A. The hero suddenly dashes towards the Overlord, sword drawn. You selflessly throw yourself in front of the hero's blade, acting as a shield. It's funny, you think. You never would have imagined this would be the way you die. The roles are all switched around, but it feels right to you somehow. You're glad your destiny turned out to be saving someone, rather than being saved yourself. As your vision fades, you hope that everything turns out alright for your new friend. I'm the true puppet master. Don't like that, but we're going with it. I can quickly speedrun the rest of these endings. A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. You found lost letter number 2. What? My love. I finally fulfilled a childhood dream of mine. Yes, that's right. I opened up my very own theater. You would be so proud if you could only see it. I know how much it would have meant to you to be at my side on opening night. I'm sorry for going ahead without you, but I thought if my theater could just become world famous, then maybe you just might hear of it. Wherever you are. Forever yours, Tragedy. Oh, the tragedy and comedy masks! That's why it's a badendtheater, because you don't have the happy. Yeah! A letter we got another letter! Lost letter number 1. My love, just isn't fair at all, is it? For them to force us apart like this, it's unreasonable. Cruel. I had to find an outlet for this grief somehow. So I decided to write. And I'll keep writing until the day you find me once more. And then, maybe we could write a story together. I'm waiting for that day. Forever yours, Tragedy. Oh shit, I think we get a letter every time we finish an entire tree for somebody. So he's no more endings. You were forced into this mess. You're sure now that they would have killed you if you'd sided with her. To your surprise, the Overlord spares you. Or maybe she'd rather see you suffer instead. Looking around, you've just gone from one dead end to another. The maiden is crying. The hero is silent. You'll all burn together. Underling's true end. The letter flutters down. Number 3. My love, I've been feeling a little depressed lately. Many patrons have come to my theater, but none so far have stayed to experience every tale in its entirety. The critics haven't exactly been kind. I understand. My stories aren't exactly crowd pleasers. Despite that, you've always listened to the very end. I'm grateful for that. Hope to see you again soon. Forever yours, Tragedy. Vile demons! I shouldn't have believed for a second that you were anything but pure evil! I'll exterminate you all! You don't really get what he's going on about, but you engage regardless. A girl's gotta defend her people. Flash again and again, but the hero isn't going down easily. You're both dangerously low in health, waiting for the other to make a move. When one of your underlings appears behind him, they knock the hero unconscious. You kind of appreciate it, but can't they see this was a duel? They don't respond. You sense murderous intent. Your servant tackles you, tearing you apart with their claws. You struggle to retaliate. You've done too much damage. You can barely move now. Your blood is everywhere. You can't believe this has happened to you. Why has this happened to you? Been slain by your own underling. All of the branching paths. A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. Found lost letter number 4. My love, do you remember when we first met? I had just finished one of my scripts. One I was quite proud of, in fact. As I read it aloud, you had happened to pass by. What a terrible ending, you said. Why should these poor fools have to die? You were so rude. You wouldn't accept any of my justifications, and yet you managed to convince me. It really would be better if everyone could live in harmony, however unrealistic that felt. I look back fondly on that day, even now. I wonder if, somewhere, you're thinking of it too. Forever yours, Tragedy. Now let's fucking end this, once and for all. It can't end like this. You want to answer the maiden's prayers. You've decided to find a way to save everyone. But retracing the paths you've seen so far, there doesn't seem to be any room to avoid a bad ending. Is there really nothing you can do to keep all of them from getting killed in the end? There's nothing you could do by acting from within their story. Maybe it's time to take things into your own hands. I am myself. You boldly insert yourself into the story and use your incredible power to warp everyone to safety. You didn't know you could do that, but what's going on here? Take a moment to get a good look at yourself. You are you. Why are you pitch black? I feel that this body doesn't accurately represent you, but you move past it. The hero, maiden, underling, and overlord have been staring at you too. They look like they don't really know what they're supposed to do right now. I guess that's because you're usually the one guiding them. What will you say to them? Hi guys. You smile awkwardly and introduce yourself. The maiden is the first to respond. My prayers have been answered! You must be... Her god? No, you're merely the player. If there was any god here, they'd be the final boss. That's just how these role-playing games go. Now you realize what the real true ending must be. Now. Enough of this. I admit I've been encouraging you all along, but a self-insert story? How passé. You watch helplessly as tragedy descends from the heaven. You didn't honestly believe you were the only one who could force your way into the stage, did you? I am the narrator, storyteller, god of this world. Call me Tragedy, if you'd like. Darkness envelops your party. You don't mind if I send them back to relive one of their many bad endings, right? You are alone in the darkness with me, Tragedy. I sincerely hope you've been enjoying your time in my theater. Though I can't abide you stealing the show without permission. It's quite disrespectful. I'm sick of all these bad endings. And frankly, you should have never come to a place called Badendtheater. Haven't we already been over this? You think defeating me might just be the only way to see a better ending. It's all that's left for you, isn't it? Well, this does sound like it could be entertaining. Show me what you've got. Time to fight God! Oh shit, it's an actual battle. Stage is set for your final battle against me, the god of this world. What will you do? How will you fight against tragedy itself? I'd love to see it. Attack! You try your best to tear me down, but you can't seem to do any damage. You don't truly exist in this world, after all. Perhaps you don't understand just how outclassed you are here. Oh shit. Behold, my beautifully tragic tales. Doesn't seeing them all make your heart ache? You've witnessed all 41 of my painstakingly crafted endings. You must be as much of a masochist as me. I commend your thoroughness. Surely these characters have a special place in your heart. They're still suffering backstage, you know. It's a shame they couldn't make it here to the end of the world. That's right. You came here to save them. You can't do this alone. Oh shit, I know who to call. You find the hero in his home, hunched over a sewing table. Your sudden intrusion scares the hell out of the poor guy. Are you some kind of demon? Explain that no, you're not a demon. How can you explain it in a way the hero can understand? Instead, you ask what he's sewing. Oh, this? I craft all my own hero gear. He senses pride in his hobby. You wonder if the costumes are what attracted him to the role of hero. Would you like some clothes? You don't seem to be wearing any. You remember the state of your body and decide that, yes, some clothes from the hero would be nice. He's overjoyed by your answer. Apparently his outfits are too gaudy for the other townsfolk, so no one else wants them. True end for the hero suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change his fate. I can make a living as a tailor rather than a hero? Please, tell me what I can do to reach that dream. The hero will now fight alongside you. I agreed to follow you, but I didn't expect to face something like this. The hero has arrived! Oh, we really couldn't have a final boss battle without him. You're the one who's been killing us! Murderer! I can't truly call myself a hero until I see you defeated. We'll see about that. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. Summon all of them! Everyone. Happen to find the maiden as she exits the church, her heart set on meeting a demon. Perfect timing. She approaches you, having already taken notice of your odd form. Excuse me, are you a traveler? I've never seen anyone like you before. Explain that no, you're not a traveler. Well, maybe you are, in a sense. You've come all this way. The maiden regards you with excited curiosity. Then perhaps you might be a demon? I was hoping I could meet one today. Think of all the terrible fates that hope would bring about. She is the catalyst of the story, after all. My role as a maiden is to be captured by the Overlord. But you see, I've grown so tired of waiting. You remember this part. She wanted to understand her role better, and so you ask what it is that she's really hoping to gain from this. The maiden is confused by your question. Perhaps it was as simple as wanting to reach the place she felt like she belonged. The true end for this maiden suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. If there's something I can do to find fulfillment, then please guide me. The maiden will now fight alongside you. What is that horrible creature? You wound me, dear maiden. Is tragedy really such a terrible thing to behold? I remember now. I remember all the awful things you put us through. Then this should be familiar to you as well. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. Al, summon! I'm summoning all of them! You approach the gates of the Overlord's castle. The underling is on guard duty, as you expected. They call out to you. The other demon guard is sound asleep. Hey, you're a pretty weird-looking intruder. What do you want? Explain that no, you're not an intruder, although you're definitely intruding their story right now. You tell the underling you've come to save them from tragedy. Okay, trying to save me from boredom first. I hate this job. The underling snickers. You ask what kind of job they'd rather have. It'd be best if I didn't have to work at all. I just want to live a carefree life and never get bossed around or picked on. You think of the underling's friends who'd bullied them into an assassination plot, only to betray them in the end. If they kept better company, maybe they wouldn't feel so restless. The true end for the underlings suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change their fate. So there's a way that even work can be fun? Sounds fake, but I'll tag along with you just in case. The underling will now fight alongside you. Wait, what the fuck? You didn't say anything about a boss battle! The underling? You must be desperate to call on such an unreliable ally. If I beat this guy up, all my problems will be over. Oh, but it won't be that easy. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. Oh, I can hold out a little longer. You enter the Overlord's room, relieved to see the fire contained to the torches on the walls. When you close the door behind you, the Overlord rises from her slumber. Who are you? Have you come to reside in my castle and serve me? Explain that no, you're not here to serve her. It's more like you've come to do her a favor. You ask why she spends all day sleeping instead of commanding her demon army. She laughs in response. Many of my underlings think I should be more aggressive with the humans, like my father before me. His quest for revenge was endless and self-perpetuating. There's a reason I had to destroy him. You can't help but think it's a little late in the game to be getting some new backstory. I have no interest in waging war on the humans. I merely wish to be left alone, to live a peaceful, indulgent life in my castle. You realize she must actually be very lonely, only surrounded by soldiers instead of friends. No wonder she gets so attached to the maiden. The true end for this overlord suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. My own attempts at peace have been rather imperfect. If you offer a solution, then very well. I will follow you. The overlord will now fight alongside you. I see. So this is trap. Ah, you've brought the overlord! I don't stand a chance now! You've prevented me from attaining peace for long enough. Prepare to die. I hope you're prepared to face your deaths as well. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. Ooh, I've been damaged. Now that the whole party's here, can you solve my final puzzle? Which combination of behaviors will open the path to your true ending? Show me. Willpower. Your reign of terror ends here, Tragedy. I refuse to give in. The hero uses his willpower to overcome Tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. So hope. Our true endings do exist. They simply must. The maiden hopes with all her heart to overcome Tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. Tenacity for the underling. Knocked me down and I just come back stronger. The underling uses their tenacity to overcome Tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. Ambition. I'll reach my true ending with my own power. The Overlord uses her ambitious nature to overcome Tragedy. This is it. With everyone's hearts united, you take aim towards your best possible futures. You unleash one final attack to destroy Tragedy once and for all. You've done it. You've managed to defeat me. A tragic ending for Tragedy itself. I love it. I must thank you all for fulfilling your roles perfectly. Thank you, hero. Thank you, maiden. Thank you, underling. Thank you, overlord. Enough of this nonsense. We defeated you, so die already. Don't worry, I'll be making my exit shortly. Finally, thank you, most of all. We couldn't have made it here without you. Yes, my bad end theater did contain a truly good ending after all. I apologize for antagonizing you for so long. I wanted to deliver a satisfying story. Was I able to do it, I wonder? No. Well, I did my best. Happy endings shouldn't always come easily. Reality is not so kind. But you've earned this one. Here's your true ending. But what about you? Hold on. Give me a second. But what about Tragedy? No. Something is missing. Oh, you're still here. The curtain is closed for the final time. I'm shutting down my theater. There are no more tragedies left for me to tell, after all. There is one more. Me? You'd like to know why I started this theater? Because I'm obsessed with bad endings, of course. Remove the mask. You gently raise your fingers to the cracks in my mask. Piece by piece, it falls apart into your hands. revealing. I should have warned you, this might affect what you think of my stories. You can't help but compare my face to the maiden's. I'm not her, but it's not like she isn't me, necessarily. That's how it is with fiction. Would you like to hear, not another ending, but the truth? Tell me. Alright, one last story. You may already know this, but it doesn't have a happy ending. First, I'll set the stage. In this world, there are no such things as demons, or even heroes, really. There was a girl eager to set out to fulfill some sort of destiny. That part was true. She met someone, another girl. A running theme, isn't it? The maiden and the overlord. The two were inseparable. For a time, everything was just wonderful. Their families, the communities they came from, neither could approve of their relationship. That is the reality for many. This pair was no different. Despite their best efforts, the world was intent on pulling them apart. We used to like all the types of stories where love conquers all, where the strength of your love will pull you through any hardship and everything is okay in the end. I lost her. And then I started this theater. This story doesn't have a happy ending. Huh? I was hoping to find you. It's you! It's been so long. I thought I'd never see you again. You always think of the worst endings. I wasn't about to give up just because things got difficult. Why didn't you reveal yourself sooner? I feel like such a fool. I could say the same to you. You knew I could never resist giving your stories a happy ending. So of course I would be drawn to a place like this. Yes, but I didn't think it would actually work. Sometimes everything does turn out okay in the end. Thank you for reminding me of that. I love you. I love you too. And that is how you fucking do it! Now, truly everyone can live happily ever after. Tragedies end. I mean, there's 2 other achievements where I, die and I'm cringe, but let's fucking get that off camera. That was Bad End Theater. I'm filled with so many emotions, I'm a husk of a human being, and also my throat is sore. Not as much commentary on this one as I would have liked, but hopefully it was okay. Not a whole lot of room to squeeze in gags. Hopefully I can edit some of those in. Editor Lily, throw in a really quick gag to make the editing of this worth it. Anyways, this was Bad End Theater. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay frosty, my friends.